Every year, usually during our graduation ceremonies, UBC has the honor of bestowing honorary degrees upon individuals who, in the opinion of the university community, have fit the criteria of excellence and eminence in their chosen field. Jim Hamilton exemplifies these characteristics, and it is our pleasure to grant him an honorary degree. Over the course of 40 years, Jim Hamilton's commitment to collaborative academic leadership has contributed to the transformation of lives and communities in the Okanagan and beyond. He is best known for his work as president of Okanagan College, a role he has fulfilled since 2004. Under his tenure, the college enrollment has increased 70%, including a four-fold increase in Indigenous students. He's also led the establishment of numerous strategic partnerships, served on countless academic boards and councils, and oversaw the completion of the $127 million in capital projects. His career began in 1980 as a professor of English literature at the Vernon campus of Okanagan College. Since that time, he's worked for School District 22 as an administrator, served as an elected school trustee, and as a member of the Board of Governors of Okanagan University College. Before becoming president, he served as the regional principal of the North Okanagan region of Okanagan University College. He was also the transition team leader for the college during a critical period that culminated in the creation of UBC Okanagan and Okanagan College in 2005. Numerous volunteer commitments include serving as co-chair of the BC Council of Admission and Transfer, chair of the British Columbia Council for International Education, chair of the BC College Presidents Group, president of the Trades Training Consortium of BC, and vice chair of the Irving K. Barber BC Scholarship Society. In 2016, he was awarded the President's Distinguished Service Award by Colleges and Institutes Canada, where he served as a board member for many years. In recognition of his service and contributions as one of the province's longest-serving academic leaders, we are pleased to confer the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, upon James Stewart Hamilton. It now gives me great pleasure to ask Dr. Hamilton to say a few words.
Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, and members of the UBC community, today I am filled with gratitude and humility. I am overwhelmed with being honored by this great university, one incidentally from which both of my parents graduated in the post-World War II era. I know that they would share in the joy of this moment. I started my term as Okanagan College president in a time of transition, working closely with UBC as together we sought to ensure the people of the BC Southern Interior benefited from access to an ever greater range of high quality post-secondary education. I worked closely with colleagues from UBC on that vision, and it seems only fitting that I end my career in yet another time of great change and challenge when I am once again connected with UBC. Like all members of the UBC class of 2020, I am graduating from one stage of life to another. In January, I will retire from a 40-year career, most of it spent in post-secondary education. I know that for graduating students like you, this transitional year has not worked out exactly as planned. That is true for me as well. I was looking forward to my last convocation, my last celebration for outstanding students, my last dinner honoring outstanding employees, my last connections with global learning partners, and of course, that great big party to celebrate my 4 decades in a vocation whose goal is to transform lives and communities. And of course, all this in person. But along came COVID, and my transition plans, like yours, took an unexpected turn as we all confronted the challenges of the pandemic. These days, I'm spending a lot of time in reflection, tinged with both anxiety and excitement. I'm thinking about what lies ahead for my 8 grandchildren, for my 4 children, for you, and for all of us. Even before the advent of the COVID pandemic, we face significant global issues that call out for action and for change. You know the list. Everything from the absolute imperative to effectively address issues of truth and reconciliation through climate change, the opioid pandemic, terrorism, the refugee crisis, and political instability, not just abroad, but on our very continent, to social justice, equity, and inclusion for all. These are but some of the many consequential issues that, taken together, could threaten to overwhelm us. They are challenges that cannot be ignored by any of us, including the graduating class of 2020. Now, it may seem at this point that my message seems a bit bleak. However, while I'm a bit fearful, I am even more excited by the possibilities for a bright future for all of us. And the reason for my confidence in that future is simple. I believe in the creativity, the passion, the empathy, the human decency, and the commitment to social justice that I have seen in my own students and colleagues over the past 4 decades, and that I know abounds in the UBC class of 2020. As an optimist, I believe that given the opportunity, we are more likely to choose the path that takes us in the right direction, as difficult as that may be, and that gives me hope. I've witnessed so many times how human beings, when faced with challenges in their private lives, in their communities, or on a global scale, will rise to the occasion and apply their skills, energy, and intelligence to turn adversity into opportunity. Take, for example, the way in which students and communities at UBC, at my college, and across this country have responded to COVID-19 and its impact on the most severely affected populations. They have made masks and face shields, raised emergency aid for students, and fed the hungry, all while making the difficult shift to online learning. Here's one good example. One alum came up with an online event to raise money for local charities at a time when their normal approaches were not possible. He went on to raise $540,000 in a single nationwide event, and now owns a startup to assist not-for-profits to adapt to COVID times so they can continue their essential work for the common good. While I acknowledge that problems are numerous and serious and will always be there, history tells us an encouraging story of innovation and leadership. I could list copious examples of UBC grads alone who have made their marks in health, science, the arts, engineering, justice, almost any field you can name, all improving the human condition and all setting great examples for the class of 2020. It occurs to me that when my parents were graduating from UBC a few years after the Second World War, they too faced a world of uncertainty with massive economic and social issues threatening their individual and collective well-being. They and their contemporaries could have been overwhelmed, but they were not. They persevered and they worked hard to rebuild a shattered world. I have great faith that the UBC class of 2020 will demonstrate the same commitment to leaving the world a better place than they found it. Now, it is traditional for speakers at convocations to offer sage advice to graduates. When you get to my age, you have a lot of advice to impart, but it may not be all wise. And besides, I have a time limit of 5 to 7 minutes, which I probably am blowing as we speak. So here is one thing I hope you will find useful. In whatever you do, please remember that it is always about people. So whether they are family, friends, clients, or coworkers, always respect them, empower them, challenge them, love them, and always thank them. Speaking of which, I want to acknowledge that I would not be here today without the tremendous support and love of my family. My children, Tanya, Sarah, Heather, and Andrew, and especially my wife, Liz. Like me, they will be watching with interest the many successes of the class of 2020.